Good evening, good evening, good evening, my brothers and sisters. How are you doing this beautiful evening? Your brother Tony is in the house. It's dinner time. Come on in and sit down. We got plenty of food for the soul. So come on in, take your seat, and get ready for some of this good soul food. My brothers and sisters and friends, come on in, come on in. If this is your first time at the dinner table, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tony M. Toomer, and I talk about relationships. I talk about relationships. Basically, the base part is from a spiritual perspective. When I say spiritual perspective, I'm talking about God had a unique relationship with the man Adam. Secondly, he had a unique relationship with the woman Eve. Thirdly, God represented the woman to the man. And in the presence of God, the man Adam said, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. I should call a woman because she came from man. That's the type of relationship I'm talking about at the dinner table. So come on in, brothers. Come on in, sisters. And if this is your first time at the dinner table, you're in for a treat tonight. Go ahead and invite some more family members and friends, my brothers and sisters. If you're new here, like I say, remember my name is Tony M. Toomer, and if you have anything to say at the dinner table, by all means, go ahead and talk. My brothers and sisters that normally here at the dinner table, they are very engaging, and if you want to be engaged in this conversation, my brothers and sisters and friends, you can be very engaged in it. Now, I would tell you this as far as relationships go. Now, if you think about being in a relationship from another point of view, you have what is called a free will. You can do it whatever you choose to do. But I basically talk about the relationship of that between a man and a woman, like I said, from a biblical standpoint. Now, you can do whatever you choose to do. That's on you. But if you're sitting at the dinner table or you're standing around the dinner table and you're trying to smell what we got, on the menu, I'm letting you know right now, okay? So with that said, my brother, that's what said. And with that said, my sister, and for you new friends that coming by, remember that I'm on two different platforms. I'm talking live. I'm on the book and I'm on the tube. If I make a comment to those of you on the book, those you on the tube, you may not see their comments, and vice versa. If I make a comments to those of you that are on the tube, those of you that are on the book, you may not see their comments, but we are family here, my brother and sister. By the way, I hope that you all had a very pleasant, good Thanksgiving with your family and friends, and I hope that you got really filled up. And the most important thing about Thanksgiving, my brother and sister, it was about family time. I know some people, they want to go back and say what the real meaning of Thanksgiving, but uh, it's valid. It's real valid. But the real purpose of Thanksgiving right at this moment was the time you spend with your family and friends. Okay. Now, how you doing, sister Fountain? How you doing, sister Cynthia? Welcome to the dinner table, and the rest of you brothers and sisters, come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And as you come in, you could talk to your brothers and sisters and be very, I mean, if you want to talk, my brother and sister, more one another, you can really do that. And I encourage you to engage with one another because we're family here at the dinner table. Long as you talk about what we got on the menu, okay? With the menu, tonight's topic, we are going to talk about what to do when you find out that your mate have cheated or is cheating. That's the topic for tonight at the dinner table. That's on the menu. How you doing, brother Mosley? Tonight on the menu again, what to do when you find out that your mate have cheated or is currently cheating on you. Now let's talk, my brother. Let's talk, my sister, about your mate cheating on you. And you find some very, very clear evidence that is true. And that's what we're going to talk about at the dinner table tonight. So what am I saying? You, brother, or you, sister, you have cold busted that person that you're in a relationship with. I mean, you cold busted them. There's no ifs and buts about it. You have concrete proof, and you got undeniable proof, and he or she can't get out of it. And I'm going to give you a scenario, but before I give you the scenario, my brother and sister, we have to, when it comes to a relationship, my brother and sister, you got to understand, you are important. Let's talk about that now. You are important, brothers, and you are important, sister. Are you perfect? No, you're not perfect. I'm not perfect. But brother, your time and your respect is very important. So my brother and sister, you got to understand it. When you find out that the person that you're in a relationship cheat on you, and you see there are different forms of cheating. Most people think that the cheating is basically physical, and but cheating come in several type of forms, okay? But what we're going to talk about, we're not going to break down each type of cheating. But I'll throw some points out there before I get to what I'm really going to do. Okay. Now there's some type of cheating. There's like uh cyber cheating. That's like when you go online and you doing that little stuff online. Like let's say for example, like you go on the book and you go and you jump into somebody uh inbox. Let's say that you're doing some private texting to somebody else, or your mate doing some private or texting to someone else, but you find out about it and you got concrete proof. Or you find out that your mate is on a dating site, but you and that person supposed to be in a relationship, okay? Or let's say that that person that you're in a relationship with is emotionally bonded to someone else. And one thing about it, what most people fear is that physical uh part of the relationship, that they may have been quote unquote unfaithful to you, my brother and sister. This is what we have to get into. It's called tough love. My brother and sister, when it comes to a relationship, you are not someone that another man or woman should run over, okay? You are not a man or woman that someone should run over. And that's right, sister. Found to respect is very important. Now, you, brother, and you, sister, have to enforce what is called tough love. Now, what is tough love? When we go to the dictionary, tough love is defined as love or affection, concern expressed in a stirring or unsentimental manner, as through discipline, especially to promote responsible behavior. That's what we are here, my brother and sister. It's called tough love. You're not a fool, my brother and sister. You're not a fool. But when it comes to a person that you're in a relationship with, you cannot let no man or woman run over you. You have to exercise tough love. And again, tough love is defined. Listen carefully from the dictionary. It is defined as a love or affectionate concern expressed in a stern, key word, in a stern or unsentimental manner, as through discipline, especially to promote responsible behavior. For example, my brother, and for example, my sister, if you and your mate had planned and on getting together and going out, this is just a hypothetical, okay, my brother, sister, you and your mate have planned and on going out, okay? It's clearly planned. You agreed to go out with your mate, okay? Then your mate call you or text you and want to change the plans. For some reason, he or she been consistent all the while, but on this particular day, he or she wants to change the plan. And they may say something generic like, well, you know what? I want to change the plan slightly. I want to go to the gym and work out for a little while, then I'll get with you later. Or he or she might say something like, let me stop by my mama's house or my folks' house or my people's house for a little bit, then I get to you later. Or worse than this is one of the worst excuses, my brother, that a man or woman would use on you when it comes to stepping on the outside of the relationship. This is one of the top one. You know what the top one is, my brother and sister? I got to work late. That's the top one. I'm working late. So let's say out of those scenarios, let's say like let's go with I'm working late, okay? Your mate say I'm working late. So afterward, you say, okay, you just take it like a grain of salt. You say, okay, and then you decide that you're gonna go walking through the park. And when you walking through the park and you thinking that your mate is at work because he or she say I'm working late, and then you see your mate walking in the park holding hands with someone of the gender, and your mind saying he or she just told me that he or she working late, but I'm seeing him or her walking in the park with someone. Or better yet, your mate called you and said, they working late or something like that, right? And then you get then you talk to your friend and say, well, since my mate working late, why don't we go get a bite to eat together? So you get a few of your close friends and you go to a restaurant, right? So when you at this restaurant, my brother and sister, you thinking that that person that you're in a relationship with is at work. So you and your friends are sitting around, and all of a sudden, somebody get your attention and say, ain't that your man or ain't that your woman? And you looking around and you see your mate sitting with someone else at this 5-star restaurant, or what if it's not a 5-star restaurant, but you see him or her, and in your mind you saying he or she told me that he or she was working late. So what's going on in your mind? Not only are you somewhat embarrassed because your friends see it, it's bad when you see it, but just to have your friends, or let's say even your family that with dinner, and they see your mate sitting with someone else, at that particular time, my brother and sister, if you have, well, let's say if you have, I don't know what you did, if you have done it, just let's say that it's present. If you, my brother, or you, my sister, see your mate and you clearly got proof, and especially if you see your mate in public cheating on you, do not cause a scene. Do not do that, my brothers. Do not do that, my sister. The worst thing you could do is cause a scene. You don't want to go over there talking loud. You don't want to go over there and get in a fight. You don't want to do that. But what you can do, you can excuse yourself, like I said, like you at dinner with your family or friend, and you see your mate sitting at another table with someone there. You can politely go over there, because you see, you need to do it. You cannot wait till later on and start playing on mental game and say, what were you working late? Because he or she still might stick to that lie. So you want him or her to know that you have actually seen him or her, to the point where you touch him or her. You have to touch, because some people will say that wasn't me. So this is what you do, my brother, sister. If you see your mate and you're in public, like I said, first of all, do not make a spectacle of yourself and do not act a fool. When you go over to the table, my brothers, when you go over to the table, my sister, you get that person's attention. Do not attack that other person. That other person is not your problem. The person that you're in a relationship with, he or she is your problem. And this is what get me sometimes. If a man or woman see his or her mate with someone else, why do you want to attack the other person? Why do you want to attack the other person? I'm going to say it again. Why do you want to attack the other person? Your mate is responsible. Some of you're going to go calling the other person names and all that kind of stuff. That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. Even if you don't know what the story is. You don't know whether your mate let that person know that he or she was in a relationship with you. You don't know. So don't go over there acting like that person know everything. There's a possibility that person doesn't know anything. So if you have to walk over to the table, my brother and sister, you deal directly with your mate, not with the other person. You understand? You put your hand on his or her shoulder and you say something like, How you doing? You don't have to say, I thought you was working late. You just say, how you doing? And then you say, who is this person right here? Are you going to introduce us? And you right then you have thrown a monkey wrench in that your mate's mind, because he or she they cold busted. But your thing is, my brother and sister, you want to remain calm, cool, and collective. Like I said, you put your hand on his or her shoulder. Don't slap him. Don't raise your voice. Be very pleasant and say, who is your friend? Are you going to introduce us? And more than likely, he or she, they're going to come up with something, right? And once he or she introduce that person, all you have to do is say something like, pleased to meet you. And when you say something like, pleased to meet you, walk away. That's all you got to do. Just walk away. At that particular time, my brother and sister, your mate is going to be very uncomfortable. And we're not talking about no game, but he or she are going to be very uncomfortable. Because you got to remember, my brother and sister, when I call you my brother and sister, especially if you have a relationship with the Lord, you got to understand that what you say and what you do is going to also reflect on your relationship with God. You see what I'm saying? So you got to think about, it's more than you. You represent the Lord too, okay? So that's why you're gonna be angry. I'm gonna tell you some of the emotion you're gonna have if you see your mate cheating, or you find out and he or she cold busted. You going to be angry, and you going to hurt, and you gonna feel betrayed. Again, you are going to experience anger. You are going to experience hurt. You are going to experience betrayal, but you got to understand who you are. You are a son or daughter of God. That's why I said be calm, cool, and collective, especially if you're single. Especially if you're single. Now, I'm going to go with some points how you really handle a situation after you have put your hand on that person's shoulder and you talk calm and stuff. Brother Moses said, I wouldn't make a scene either, but Brother Tony, you're smoother than most people in that situation. Brother, I could tell you some story, brother. I could really tell you some story, but you see, what I'm saying, Brother Mosley, is let me tell you a story, Brother Mosley, and the rest of you all. Let me tell you a story, Brother Mosley, and let me tell you, sisters. A long time ago, there was this young lady that I was seeing, right? I was seeing this young lady. So we were supposed to be getting together, right? We were supposed to be getting together. And most of the time it was consistent. But this particular day, she played like she was sick. She actually played like she was sick. And she wanted to call it off. And she wanted to wait till we get together another time. That's what she wanted, Brother Mo. She wanted to wait till another time. So anyway, I said, is there anything you want me to bring to you or anything like that? She said, no, I'll be good. Just call me back later and maybe I'll feel better. So the math was not right, brothers and sisters. The math wasn't right. You see, 1 + 1 always equal 2. It never equal 3. Remember that. If your brother Tony ain't never told you nothing right, I'm telling you now. 1 + 1 always equal 2. It never equal 3. So when she was saying she was sick, she didn't feel well, something just about that didn't sound right. It didn't sound right. So when she hung up the phone, I was thinking about it. I like put my hands like this, and I was looking up, and I said, something just ain't right with this story. Something just ain't right. So you know what I did? I got in my car, and I went to where she lived, right? So when I went to where she lived, somebody else's car was there. Okay, somebody else's car was there. And I knew who car it was. I knew the car and I know who it was. So I called her and I said, I'm calling you. How you feeling now? And guess what she did? She got back on the phone and she was playing like she was still sick. And I said, "You sure? You should." I said, are you feeling okay? I was just wanting to check back up on. She said, "Yeah, I'm not feeling too well. Can I call you back?" And I said, "Are you alone? Are you alone?" She said, "Yeah, I'm alone." I said, "Well, who car is parked in front of your resident?" And she started talking plain. Then, where you at? What did I do? Did I get out of character? Anything? I said, I tell you what, when you feel better, call me. And I left it like that. I was calm, I was cool, I was collected. However, I was angry, I was hurt, and I felt betrayed. And this young lady, she wondered what happened in the relationship, why we didn't get together. She never wanted to address that. She never wanted to address the elephant in the room. So that kind of terminated our relationship. She never, I wasn't going to bring it up. And I was going to see what she's going to bring it up. She really didn't want to bring it up. So lo and behold, it ended and I went on with what I was doing. But back to the topic. What do you do when that your mate is cold busted and he or she can't deny it? Number one, you brother or you sister, once you leave from that element or wherever you're at, don't contact him or her. You don't need no explanation right now. Do not listen to what I'm saying, brother and sister. Do not contact that man or that woman. You gonna feel like doing it. You're gonna feel like doing it because you want to talk about it, but do not do it. You wait for him or her to call you, my brother and sister. You understand? You wait for him or her to call you. And if he or she calls you, or if they text you, that's the coward way of doing it. Texting them. Don't play no games with them. Don't let it go to your voicemail. Respond. If he or she call you, pick up the phone and say hello, but be calm and cool and collected. If he or she texts you, respond back to the text. But you being calm, cool, and collected, because now we're talking about some advanced chess. You see, in a relationship, what you're dealing with now, my brother and sister, this is not no checkers. When you're dealing with another person, this is the checkers is for children. You're in a chess game when you're up in age and you trying to establish a relationship. You playing chess now. You're not playing no game. Chess, not checkers. Okay, you're in a game of chess. Okay, so go ahead. Don't play with them. Go and say hello and be calm. You might want to cuss. You might want to get all belligerent stuff, but keep calm and cool. Understand? Keep calm and cool. And then, if he or she want to talk to you about what had happened, you do not want to talk over the telephone, and you don't want to pass message through text. You understand when I say, my brother and sister? You do not want to discuss it over no telephone, and you do not want to discuss it through text. You don't want to do that. But you can agree to meet with them. Now, everything that I'm talking about, I'm considering you hurt, you angry, you hurt, and you feel betrayed. But still remain calm, cool, and collective. No, remember, you don't do no contacting right now. Everything is on him or her. Okay? The ball is in his or her court. But what did I say earlier? What did I say? I said tough love, didn't I? I said tough love. And what is tough love defined as? Tough love is defined as love or affection, concern expressed in a stern, you got to be stern, or unsympathetic manner, as through discipline. You got to be disciplined, especially to promote responsible behavior, because he or she is responsible for his or her behavior, my brother and sister, not you. He or she, you're not going to allow them to flip the switch on you. He or she made a conscious decision, my brother, sister, to do what he or she did. That man or woman that your mate was with did not hold no gun to his or her head, or did not put no knife in his or her back. He or she used they exercised their free guard, free will, and he or she decided to do what he or she did. You had nothing to do with it. Even though they want to gaslight you and make it seem like you had something to do with it, you did not. Sister Fountain said, I'm just sorry, Brother Tony. If I catch my mate cheating, it's a wrap, over. We're going to talk about that more, Sister Fountain. Just hold on, sister. Hold on. How you doing, Sister Sherry Smith? Welcome to the dinner table. Just hold on for a moment, Sister Fountain. I understand. I understand where you're coming from. But remember, you got to exercise tough love. What you do after he or she call you, don't act like you don't hear. Don't act like you don't see his or her number. Go ahead and talk on the phone. But he or she, you're listening. That's your only thing on the phone. You listening. But you don't want to talk about that over the phone. He or she gonna want to talk about it, because how you left when you seen him or her, when you were so calm, cool, and collected. You threw a wrench in their mind, because that, you see, a normal human behavior is to go over there and get loud, to call the other person all kinds of names instead of dealing with your mate. But you threw a wrench into their mind. You see, the reason why you're doing it this way, because you got the Spirit of God in you. And that's going to help you modify your behavior. Even though you want to do something from a carnal perspective, even though you may want to hit them upside the head or whatever, the Spirit of God going to do it, because you got to understand this. You represent God in this, okay? And nobody don't need to say, well, I'm not Jesus. You know, no, you're not Jesus, but you represent Jesus. How you doing, Sister Tierra? Welcome to the dinner table. For those of you that are coming to the dinner table tonight, what we're discussing is what to do when you find out your mate have cheated or is cheating. And you cold busted them face to face in public, and you see him or her with the person. Nobody didn't tell you nothing. You actually seen him or her. Because you see, this is what I'm saying. Going back to the scene, if you see them if they lied and said they was working or whatever, and you see them out in a restaurant or something, and you see them and spend with you when your family friend, they're going to watch and see how you handle it. They watching you. Your family friend going to watch how you handle it. And when you go over there, touch him or her on their shoulder, and you say, and you ask them to introduce the person, and you be pleasant to the other person, you walk out, because like I said, you don't know what your mate done told that man or woman. You don't know. Then you walk over there back to your family friend, sit down, and enjoy your meal. They're going to want to know that you're going to throw your family friends off, because you're so calm and cool to collected, because they're going to be saying, you ain't gonna do nothing about that. You actually going to let him or her sit over there? Don't worry about it. Him or her, your mate is not going to sit there and finish their steak. They're not going to sit there and finish their steak. They're going to get up and leave. You understand? They're going to actually get up and leave. But going back to after the phone call, you listen to what he or she have to say. And if they want to talk about it, this is what you do. You move to step number 2. You go ahead and agree to meet them somewhere. If he or she said, let me come over to your place, you said, nope, no, we're not going to meet at my place. If he or she said, come to my place, said, no, we're not going to meet at your place either. And then and we're not talking about you're playing no mental games, my brother and sister. You're not playing no mental game. It's about respect and your time. This is what you're going to hear this thing, what I'm going to keep saying. It's about respect and your time. So you agree to meet him or her somewhere neutral. Because you see, him or her, they're accustomed to come and seeing you at your place, or you're accustomed to going over to their place. But now they have changed the rules of engagement. Remember, we're not playing checkers. We are doing the chess. So you agree to meet them somewhere neutral. And remember this about anger, my brother and sister. When we go to God's word, it said, as it is written in James 1:19. James 1:19. James 1:19 said, wherefore, my brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. This is what God's word say, and you can do it, my brother and sister. It say again in James 1, chapter 1, 19. James 1, 19. James 1:19. What I'm talking to you, my brother and sister, about, the world cannot do it. You know why the world can't do it? And we can't blame them for acting like a fool and stuff in public. We can't blame them for not answering the phone. We can't blame them for returning the text. If the person that did it calls you or text you, you still be polite. But hey, rules of engagement. You agree to meet them somewhere neutral, because it isn't a mind game. It's about your respecting your time. Again, number 3, I'm emphasizing to be calm, cool, and collective. After you go to the restaurant or wherever y'all meet, neutral, somewhere like the restaurant or something like that, that's neutral. Or you're going to meet them at the park, that's neutral. You want to meet them somewhere public. You don't want to get nowhere private and talk to them. You want to meet public. That's where they did their dirt at, in public. So you meet them in public. You put them right back in public. So when you meet them at public, remember I said be calm, cool, and collect. The Spirit of God will help you. Then this is what you do. Listen to what he or she has to say. Your job at this particular meeting, my brother and sister, is only to listen. That's the only thing you do. Listen. Don't ask no questions at that time. You only listen. Because you there for an explanation, and see whether or not he or she going to try to flip it on you. Because that's what normal a person going to try to flip it on you. Even like when you go back to the Garden of Eden, when Adam and Eve messed up, you know what Adam did? When God asked Adam, when he said, Adam, where are you? When he was saying Adam, he would talk to both the man and the woman, and they was hiding. God was not playing no hide and go seek with them. He already knew where they was at. You see, God wouldn't ask them where you was at as far as, are you hiding behind a bush or a tree or a rock? He wasn't doing that. What he was actually asking Adam and Eve was, what position are you in now? That's what he was really asking them. And the only thing God wanted Adam and Eve to do was to fess up. That's all he wanted to do. But Adam or Eve did not fess up. Adam, he was perfect. Eve was perfect. They would not take responsibility. Adam was the first case of gaslighting. You know what gaslighting is, my brother and sister? Gaslighting is when you try to flip it on someone else and make it seem like he or she called you to do it. So when God asked Adam, where are you? And him and the woman came out. And he said, I'm afraid. And the Lord said, you afraid? And then he said, what did you do? Did you eat of the tree that I told you not to eat of? And you know what Adam told God? He said, the woman. Now Adam blamed two people. He blamed Eve and he blamed God. He said, the woman that you gave me. He did not want to take responsibility. He's trying to gaslight God. Adam was the first case of trying to gaslight someone. He put it on the woman and God. He didn't want to be accountable. Then God turned to Eve and said, what have you done? And she said that the snake beguiled me. She trying to flip it on the snake, but the serpent, but she did not want to take responsibility. You understand? That's what the more than likely the person that cheated on you going to do. They're going to flip it. They're going to try to flip it on you, or they're going to come up with an excuse. Your job, my brother and sister, is not to allow them to come up with no excuse. Your thing is called tough love. You know what tough love led to? God listened to Adam. He listened to Eve. He loved Adam and Eve, but they had to get put out of the garden. He still cared about them, but it's called tough love. So, brother and sister, you have to show tough love, especially if you engage to that person or you married. Now, if you single, that's a whole nother thing, which I'm about to get to shortly, okay? But like I said, listen to what he or she got to say. And when you listen to what she has to say, the next thing you do is, and this is gonna throw them too, but we're not playing no game. All you have to do is say, thank you for your explanation. And when you said thank you for your explanation, the next thing you do, my brother and sister, you dismiss yourself. That's all you do. You just gotta listen. And then once you hear everything, if he or she lying, don't even say you lying. Just you gotta listen. Just say thank you for your explanation, and then you say have a good evening. You get up and leave. If he or she want to walk behind you and still want to talk, let him or her still talk. You get in your vehicle and leave. This is a strategy, my brother and sister. You're not playing no game. You are exercising tough love. This is not a mind game. It's all about respect and time. Number 4, this is what you do after that meeting. You give him or her time to think about what happened. You understand, my brother and sister? You give him or her time to think what happened. At this particular time, they don't know what to do. You see, they coming to you more likely with a checker game, but you mastering the game called chess, okay? And you're not playing no game. But like I say, it's tough love. You're gonna keep hearing me say tough love, and you're gonna keep hearing me say this is not a mind game. It's about respecting your time. Apparently, he or she really did not respect you. Apparently, he or she did not consider your time. Apparently, he or she thought that they could lie to you to get out of it, but they didn't know what you were going to do. But you seen it with your own eyes. You had clear evidence. You got clear evidence that he or she was cheating on you. And it doesn't matter how many times. Now, most of them will say, I just did it one time. It don't matter how many times. You understand? Case in point, my brothers and sisters, case in point. Let's say that we were still going by the 10 commandments today. Let's say it's this big chain and they got 10 loops, which represent each one of the 10 commandments, okay? Let's say that the first commandment was connected to heaven. And let's say that the last link, the link number 10, you was holding on to link number 10. And up under your feet was hell. How many links does it take to break for you to fall in hell? One. You understand? It just take one. Tough love. So you let him or her think about what he or she have done. The rules of engagement still no contact from you. You know, like when you used to call him or her and you used to text them. No, it's not time to call him or her. It's not time to text him or her. It's time for you to let him or her think. If he or she call you, make it short. Be polite. If he or she texts you, be short, be kind. Don't get into what happened because it's time for him or her to think. At that particular time, he or she doesn't know what you're going to do. Now, some of you may think, Tony, you talk about a mind game. I'm not talking about no mind game. I'm talking about tough love. This is what you have to, this is what the rules of engagement, my brother and sister. Tough love. Now, while he and she is thinking about what happened, if you are single, my brother and sister, remember, if you're single, you're not engaged or nor are you married. If this is the point, my brother and sister, where you can decide whether you want to go ahead and break it off with him or her. Okay? Because you are a free agent. This is the time you don't owe him or her nothing. Now you move into another realm if you are engaged, or worse, married to that person. Now, like I said, you're single and you want to go ahead and break it up with that person. Especially if he or she have already established a pattern of being a liar. If you have caught him or her lying in the past and y'all just single, right at this point, my brother and sister, my recommendation to you is to go ahead and end the relationship. It may hurt. You already hurt. You already disappointed. You already feel betrayed. Go ahead, count your losses, and move on. You don't owe him nothing, or you don't owe her nothing. This is not a mind game. It's about your time and your respect. Now, another point. However, there's a however. If he or she overall is a good man or woman, just think about it. If he or she overall is a good man or woman, you may consider giving her or him another chance. But you still give him or her time to think about what have happened. Tough love is not a mind game. It's about respect and your time. At that particular time, you allow them to still think because you're going to be thinking too. But you don't have to let him or her know exactly what you're thinking, which leads to the next point. And this, my brother, and this, my sister, is very effective. Don't you know, my brother and sister, that silence have a lot of power? When you are silent, that's a lot of power. No man or no woman knows what you're thinking until you open your mouth. You understand? Him or her, they used to playing checkers. You play chess. Silence have power. Silence have more power than a lot of words. You could be eloquent. You could get in front of a whole bunch of people and talk. Silence. That's right, so certainly do it because I'm like that. Silence have a lot of power because when you are silent, he or she don't know what you're doing or what you're going to do. If you ever look, my brother and sister, if you all have ever seen people playing checkers, when people play checkers, normally they be talking and stuff, right? They be talking and laughing and stuff, right? Now, when you look at somebody playing chess, you know that they don't really talk that much, right? Both are thinking. They got strategies and they're making moves. Even when you look at a game called poker, you all have heard of the phrase, the poker face. You know why they call it the poker face? Because most of the time, when you look at somebody's face, you look at their expression, right? If a person normally just playing a card game, if they got a bad hand, they might, or they got a good hand, they smile and stuff. But at a poker game, you just have a normal face like this. You're not showing happiness, and you're not showing that you got a bad hand. How you doing, Sister Simma? Welcome to the dinner table. So, my brother and sister, at this particular time, silence have more power. Those of you that are coming in on the menu at the dinner table tonight, what to do when you find out that your mate have cheated on you. The first thing I gave a scenario, I'm just going to give a quick refresher before I get on to it, or, get to my final point. The first thing I said, if you have evidence that your mate have cheated on you or is cheating, and you find out cold busting, I gave a scenario like if he or she said if y'all make plans to go out dating, and he or she been consistent, but on this one particular day, he or she called and said, I'm going to stop by the gym and work out. They ain't been doing it. Or I'm going to stop by my mama's house or my family house. I'm going to be a little late. He or she ain't been doing it. Or worse than that, I'm working late. That's the number one thing, my brother. We're the top one. I'm working late. So if they tell you all of this, and you say, okay, and you agree to it, because at that point, you take him or her at their word. But you go down to the park and you see that man or woman holding hand with someone else. In a case like that, I didn't address that case. If you see him or her holding the hand with someone at the park, you still do the same thing. Well, before you walk up to him, remember, you're going to be angry, you're going to be hurt, and you're going to be betrayed. You still walk up to him or her and you ask him or her, depending on your gender, how you doing? Touch them so they can know you see them, because some people, you don't touch them, it ain't relevant. Even though you see them, touch them lightly. Don't slap them nothing. Just touch and say, hey, how you doing? Who is this person? Won't you introduce us? And the same thing, like you go to a restaurant with your family friend, same thing. You walk over there and be calm and cool and put your hand on the shoulder and say, hey, how you doing? Who is this? Nice to meet you, and walk off. And then the other points I say, you wait, it's everything on their side of the court. Remember what I said? I said, number one, wait for him or her to call you or text you. You don't do nothing. It's up to him or her to work now, okay? And then you answer the phone. Don't let it go to voicemail. Answer the phone. Or reply to the text. Because this isn't a game. It's about respect and your time. Answer. Don't play no games with them. Don't play. It's called tough love. Then number three, agree to meet with them. What I said, don't, if you're single, don't let him or her come to your where you live at. Don't even go to their place. Meet somewhere neutral. And once you meet to somewhere neutral, what did I say? You're only there to listen. That's all you there. You only there to listen. What did I say about the scriptures? I said, as it is written in James 1:19, James 1:19, James 1:19, it said, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. This isn't again about no mind game. It's about respect and your time. God's words say, be swift to hear. That's why I say you're only there to listen, my brother and sister. And then it said, be slow to speak. You say very few words. And then it says slow to wrath. You don't go there raising no hell in public, because you represent Christ, okay? So your job is just to listen. Then it goes on to, again, be calm, cool, and collected. And after you meet with them at that neutral place, you said, thank you for expressing yourself, and I hope that you have a good night. If he or she follow you to your car, whatever, let them follow you to the car. Still be nice. You want to hit them upside the head. You want to say some grievous word, but no, you're not going to do that, because you're a child of God, my brother and sister, and you respecting the Lord wherever you go, private and public. If you got the spirit of the Lord, he know that you're angry. He know that you hurt. He know that you betrayed, but he still want you to maintain your composure. Then you leave, and once you leave, you being calm, cool, and collective. And then once that's right, sister Pamela. Then once you do that, my brother and sister, you give him or her time to think about what he or she did. Give them time to think about what he or she have done to you and the relationship. And then after that, if you're single and you have caught them in a pattern of lies, at that time, my recommendation is to let him or her kick rocks. Now, if you are engaged or married, that's another thing. Okay? But if you engage and they have established a pattern of lying and stuff, you may want to go ahead and let him or her kick rocks at that time. Okay? Then, but like I said, the next point, if he or she is a good man or a good woman, you may consider reconciling, because it just depends. You have to look at the whole situation. Because, brother and sister, you got to look at the whole situation, because we got to keep in mind that he or she is a human and we are human, but you got to look at everything else that preceded that and weigh your option. But if he or she is a good man or woman, you may consider, because this isn't a game. It's about your time and respect. Number 7, now we getting back to the silent part. What did I say? Silent have power. When you don't talk, no matter what type of relationship you're, even if you at work, my brother and sister, and you got one of those crazy supervisors or bosses or something like that, silence have power. You working with coworkers, silence have power. You have a problem with your family member, silence have power. You with your friends, silence have power. Now we talk, and it go right for the person that you're in a relationship with. Silence have power. You still let him or her think about what he or she have done. At this particular time, my brother and sister, especially if you are single, don't be available as you normally would be. Now, some people say, Tony, are you punishing them? No, you're not punishing them. You're not punishing them. It's called tough love. And I got to reiterate back to what tough love is. Tough love, when you go to the dictionary, it is defined as love or affectionate concern expressed in a stern or unsentimental manner as through discipline, especially to promote responsible behavior. You want them, if you take them back, to be accountable and responsible. When he or she comes to you, how you doing, Sister Park? What to do? When he or she comes to you, you ain't got time for no lies. You want him or her to be straight to the point. Very rarely would most people be straight to the point, because if you go all the way back to the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, they were not straight to the point, and they was perfect. It's very rare where a man or a woman will actually fess up without any excuses. Very rare. But if they actually come clean and you got this discernment of God in you, okay, the discernment of God gonna say they're telling the truth. But the discernment of God still gonna let you know that they're lying. Okay. When you're being silent, my brother and sister, at that particular time, especially if you're single now, you don't want to be available for them for a few days. Even though you love him or her, you may love them, you do not want to be available for them like you used to be. If you are single, do you. Whatever you want to do with your family, your friends, your hobby, whatever, especially you want to spend more time with God, do you at that point. The thing is, you want him or her to think about what he or she have done. So they know if you decide to take them back, they know that you're not no plaything. That's right, Sister Selma. You have to know your boundaries. You don't want them to think that you know yo-yo. They can't play with you. That man or woman, they underestimated you. They won't underestimate you no more. They won't. That's why, and you see what you need to do, my brother, sister, especially if you're single. If you're single and you are not that tight, this is my recommendation. If you're not engaged, you're not single, you may want to start hanging out with other people. Even if you're going to date other people, go ahead and date other people. And then you will see whether or not you really want to be with that man or woman. Just go out and start dating some other people. You're not punishing them. If you're single, you are a free agent. You're not engaged to him or her, and you're not married to him or her. You ain't been talking about no engagement and stuff. And at this particular time, let me tell you this, my brother and sister. When you start doing this, when you start doing you got to prepare for this one thing. You're not initiating calls like you used to sometimes. You're not initiating emails like you used to. Even if they call and text you, you respond to it, but you ain't got to play that little childish game and you see their number and you don't answer, or they text you, don't respond. That's a childish game. That's checkers. Chess is you answer the phone. Chess is you respond to the email. Short, brief. You don't know. You don't let him or her know nothing what's going on in your life. For example, if he or she if they call you, they're going to want to know what's going on in your life. Tell the truth, but be short and to the point. You're not like you used to be to them. Because when they call you, they're going to, by your voice, they're going to they're trying to see where your mind is at. You don't want to bring up what happened in the past. Your job still is to listen. Just listen to him or her. If he or she said, well, can I come over? Or will you come over? The answer is a polite no, not yet. It's not punishing. It's not punishing. It is tough love. Sister Simmons said, aren't you practicing unfaithfulness when you date multiple people? Not if you're single. If you're single, no. If you're single, you are a free agent. If you engage means that you are serious, committed, and you moving towards a covenant relationship, or you're married. If you're single, you're single. You don't owe them nothing. That, you know, when I used to be single, my brother and sister, I called myself and a woman, I said, we're in a relationship. I was not, that woman that owed me nothing. I didn't owe her anything because I was not engaged to her. So if you're not engaged, my brother, if you're not engaged, my sister, you are a free agent. A free agent, if you look at it from a sports perspective, you ain't signed with no team. You good, but you ain't signed with no team. The only time, let's look at it like football. Football. When the draft come up, when they draft you, how you doing, Sister Flo? When they draft you to be on their team. What does the draft mean? They're serious about you being on the team, right? But you're not on the team. They showing intent when they draft you. So what comes next is called a contract. What is the contract? It is a commitment. Once you sign the contract, both parties are committed. So you're serious from the draft. You committed when you sign the contract, and the covenant part, after you sign that contract, you are there to perform your role on the team. So if you're single and you're going through this, you should date whoever you want to date. You're not punishing that person or nothing. You are a free agent. That's what you sisters and brother need to understand. How you doing, Sister Jacqueline Scott and Sister Flo? Welcome to the dinner table. On tonight menu, we'll talk about what to do when you find out that your mate have cheated or is cheating. Then while you're dating, my brother and sister, at that particular time, if you're single now and you're a free agent, you're going to be able to tell whether or not you really got something for that person. Even though you and that person were hanging out, you're going to, at that particular time, you're going to see whether or not you really want to have a relationship with that person or not. But it's a whole different thing now, like I said, if you're engaged or married. And this is another crucial thing, my brother and sister. Once that man or woman had cheated on you, you found out about it. When you have changed the game, and we're not talking about no mental game, when you have changed him, and remember I said silence have power, they're going to want to talk to you. And this period of time going to get them to think more about themselves. This period of time going to tell them what's important. Is he or she important to me? So they know that you ain't no plaything. They know they can't run no type of games with you. Because you got to understand it, my brother and sister, you are a son and daughter of God. You don't have to settle for nobody. You understand that? You don't have to settle for nobody. So this is the crucial thing. Be prepared for a drive-by. That's right. Be prepared for a possible drive-by. What do I mean by a possible drive-by? That man or that woman, since you're not like you normally used to be, him or her call you and you keep the conversation short but polite. You keep it short and polite, and once you keep it short and polite, let me see. Hold on, some crazy stuff coming up here, my brother and sister. Hold on. I got to block this person. Hold on. Yeah, now they gone. Okay. But the drive-by, you could be at home. You understand? You could be at home, my brothers. You could be at home, my sisters. And when you're at home, my brother, and when you're at home, my sister, somebody got some crazy stuff on my live. If you all see some crazy stuff coming up here, disregard it, okay? Disregard it. Disregard it. It's somebody that put up here beautiful girls here and sex fine information. Disregard that. That's not me. You all know that's not me. If you see that, I tried to block whoever this crazy person is. But be prepared for a drive-by. You could be at home, my brother. You could be at home, my sister, and you hear your doorbell, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. You go to the door, you look at the peephole, and sister, it's that man. Or brother, it's that woman. Still be polite. You could open the door, don't invite them in. You understand? Because silence is power. They have no right to just show up at where you live at. They have no right to show up at where you work. They have no right. You did not invite them. They decided to make a decision. So they don't have no right to just pop up on you like they used to. When you allow them to come through when they get ready, or you go through, the rules of engagement change. If they come to your door on a drive-by, you can open the door and they're going to expect for you to say, come on in, but you don't let them in. You just say, hello, how you doing? And then they may say something like, well, can I come in and talk? Then you say this, no. You don't even have to say why you didn't call me. You just said, no, not right now. You understand? Said, no, not right now. And then they might say, well, I came all the way over here just to talk to you. And this is tough love. You're not playing no games, my brother and sister. It's called tough love. You said, no, not right now. It isn't a mind game. It's about respecting your time. Now, when you are ready, my brother, when you are ready, my sister, then you can call him. Don't text. You could call him or her. Don't text him or her. You could call him or her. And when you call him or her, my brothers and sisters, this is what you do. That's right, Sister Pam. They have lost their position. You, my brother, and you, my sister, you have the power. They have lost all power in a relationship. You understand? They have lost all power. It's nothing that they could say or nothing that they could do. And it's not that you're calling the shots. You redefining the relationship. Let's say you come to the point and say, look, I want to go ahead and give this man or woman another chance. Then it's what you do, my brother and sister. You call him or her. Don't text him. Don't text him. You call him or her. They're going to be overjoyed when you call him or her. They're going to be overjoyed. And this is what you do. You say, we need to talk. Now, naturally, he or she going to want to know what you want to talk about. Naturally, they want to know. If they say something like, oh, we're going to get back together, what you want to talk about? You just say, look, what's a good time for us to meet? And then he or she say, well, you want to come to my place or I come to your place? You said, nope. We're going to meet somewhere public. Sister Pamela say, once a cheater, always a cheater. I gotta answer that question pretty soon, Sister Pamela. It said, if you really love him or her, my brother and sister, you tell them where you're gonna meet at. And when you meet them at that place, they're gonna be wondering what you want to talk about, because they don't know whether or not you want to get back together, or they don't know whether you want to dump it. They don't know. So when you meet him or her, then you say this. Just say this. What you did was messed up. If you do it again, we're not gonna meet like this no more. And if he or she wants you to say whatever you mean by we ain't gonna meet like this no more, you just say, believe me, we're not gonna meet like this no more if you take me for granted. Because apparently your action showed this. I was not high on your priority list. You say you want to get in, or you say you want to get engaged. What your action showed, it showed that you weren't ready for no engagement. Then you say you want to get married. Your action didn't show that. Or if you married, you can still employ these same things in a marriage, even if they living with you. But you see, if they living with you and you married, they're really gonna feel the chill then. They're gonna really feel the chill because you in close proximity to one another. You understand? So if you do that, and my brother and sister, you still could redefine a relationship. Say, look, we could get past this. We can get past this, which leads to number 10. It's called forgive. It's called forgive. As it is written in Ephesians 4:32. Ephesians 4:32, it says, and be ye kind one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake have forgiven you. Again, this is what God's word say in Ephesians 4:32. Ephesians 4:32 said, and ye be kind one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake have forgiven you. So what you do, my brother and sister, if you forgive that person, you do not bring this up no more. That's hard for more people. The people that it's really hard for are worldly men or worldly women. That's not saying that it won't come to your mind no more. It probably will. But you, my brother, and you, my sister, are not to bring this conversation up no more. You giving this person what is called a clean slate. You understand? Sister Pamela say, if a person cheat, you can't forgive, but it will never be the same. That's right, Sister Pamela. It will never be the same. As a matter of fact, it could get better. It could actually get better. This is why I say it could get better, Sister Pamela. This is what I'm saying. We got to look at this. If a man and a woman is a Christian, like I'm going to say Ephesians 4:32 again, it said, be ye kind one another and tenderhearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake have forgiven you. All of us, my brother, and all of our brothers, all of our sisters, we have sinned against God. All of us have sinned against God. All of us. All of us is guilty before God. I know some people say, I ain't God, I ain't Jesus. But would we want God to hold something against us? That's the key thing. Is there any one of you want God to hold something against you? No. When we go to God, we want God to forgive us. And the thing about God, when God forgive us, he doesn't bring it up no more. You will never catch God saying, you remember what you did yesterday? And then you do. God doesn't work that way. If a man and a woman is a Christian, and the key thing is, if you are in a serious, committed, and covenant relationship, especially if you're married, that person, if that person is overall a good man or woman, because we got to understand it, my brother and sister, I always say this, a man and a woman, whoever you get with in a relationship, that man or woman is not perfect. And to tell you the truth, my brother and sister, all of us have cheated against God. All of us have cheated against God. All of us have entertained Satan. All of us. I have entertained Satan. You, all of you all have entertained Satan. And I'm the chief. I have entertained Satan. I have been unfaithful to God. You have been unfaithful to God. You, all of y'all been unfaithful to God. Who out there want God to hold something against them? And this is what I said a few nights ago at the dinner table. Remember, I said this, my brother and sister. Remember that woman that was caught in adultery. Remember when those men brought this lady to Jesus while Jesus was teaching class. They abruptly brought this lady to Jesus. And they said, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. Moses' law said to stone such a person. So for one thing, they didn't bring the man. They didn't bring the man. It wasn't about the woman. It was about they wanted something against Jesus. Jesus bent down and started writing on the ground. I don't know what, the Bible don't say what he was writing. So they kept on Jesus. They kept saying, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Should we go by Moses? Moses said stone her. Jesus stood up and Jesus said, he or she without sin, throw the first stone. That's what Jesus said. And when Jesus said he or she that without sin, throw the first stone, he bent down again and started doodling on the ground. The Bible said from the first to the last left. And when Jesus stood up the third time, he asked that woman, he said, where are your accusers? And the lady said, they're not here, they're gone. And you know what Jesus said? I'm not going to accuse you either. Don't sin no more. That was how Jesus said, don't sin no more. And that's what I'm telling you, my brother and sister. If you decide to take this person back, you just tell them at that meeting, don't do it no more. That's all you got to do. Just like Jesus, don't do it no more. Because, brother and sister, we cannot hold nothing against a person that we're in a relationship with. Because you got to see the flip side. Like I said, all of us have cheated on God. All of us are cheaters. And the worst thing is to cheat against God in the spirit. All of us, guess what, my brother and sister? December is about to come up. Let's say Jesus don't come back during that time. Just let's say to December the 31st. There's not one of you brothers or sisters that's going to do right for the next few days. You're going to do something wrong. You know why you're going to do something wrong? Because even though you fall in the flesh, the Bible say in John, it said, if a man say that he has no sin, the truth is not in him. But we have an advocate with the Father, which is Jesus Christ. So my brother and sister, when you get in a relationship, guess what, my brother and sister? All of us have a problem. If you're not a cheater, you doing something wrong. Do you play the lotto? God don't like you for you doing that kind of stuff, gambling and stuff. God don't like that. Do you play the lotto? Do you steal? Do you kill? Do you gossip? Do you get drunk? Do you get high? And I could go on and on and on and on. None of us, brothers, none of us, sisters, are without sin. When a man and woman is saved by God, you have the Spirit of God in you to help you with your infirmities. Your body is dead because of Adam, the first Adam. Jesus was the second Adam. Jesus came down here to do what Adam could not do. Well, what Adam chose not to do. Sister Cheryl said, I eat too many sweets. We all do something wrong. You know what, my brother and sister? Check this out. If a lot of people might not know what we do, but guess what? God know what we do. Then it could be God and your mate know what you do. It could be God, your mate, and other people know what you do. But the worst thing, my brother and sister, is only when you know what you do, but God know what you do. Every man and every woman can be reformed. Every man, and listen to me, my brother and sister, every man and every woman can be reformed if that man and woman have Jesus in him or her. Now, let me tell you, my brother and sister, if your mate has the Lord Jesus in him or her, that man and woman can be reformed. He or she can be reformed. Like you could be reformed. When Jesus took you, brother, and you, sister, you were a sinner. Since you've been saved by God, my brother and sister, through Jesus, you still have done something wrong. You still go and tell Jesus, forgive me for that. And then some of us will do the same thing that we told Jesus we wouldn't do it again. Am I lying? How many of you have told the Lord, do something, but you did it again? How many? Raise your hand so the rest of our brothers and sisters can see who you are. How many of you have told Jesus, I'm not going to do a certain thing, and you never done it no more? You never thought about it, and you never done it no more. Just who going to do this? I cannot raise my hand. I have told the Lord something that I wouldn't do, but I did it again. And you know what? Paul said. Paul said, I think it's in Romans, I believe. Paul said, and I'm paraphrasing it. Paul said, some of the things that I would do, I don't do it. Some of the things that I would do, I won't do it. And some of the things that I don't want to do, I do it. Now, let me paraphrase that again. Paul said, some of the things that I would do, I don't do it. Some of the things that I'm supposed to do, I don't do it. So Paul said, it's not me, it's the flesh. But he said, based on the Spirit of God in him, he said, so I follow the Spirit. So what was Paul saying? Paul said, even though you saved, you're going to have two battles going on in you. This is what you brothers and sisters need to understand. Even though you saved, your body, you still got the flesh body. When the Lord saved you, my brother and sister, he don't save your flesh. The only time your flesh is going to be saved is when the Lord come back during the rapture and you get a new body. Other than that, my brother and sister, you got to deal with that sinful body. You understand it, my brother? Whatever you used to do, that stuff still in you. It's still in the flesh. But your soul have been washed in the blood of the Lamb. You understand? Your soul have been washed in the blood of the Lamb. So, with that said, my brother, and with that said, my sister, what to do when you find out that you may have cheated or cheating? I hope at the dinner table, you all got a little insight in how to do it. It's not the end of the story. But let me tell you this, my brother and sister, if you do get in a relationship, listen to me carefully. if you do get into a relationship, don't fear getting a relationship. There's a possibility that your mate might cheat in a relationship. It's a possibility. It's a possibility that you may cheat. Haven't you did it, my brother and sister? Look back at your life, my brother. Look back at your life, my sister. Have you said something in the past? I would never do that. Whatever it was, I would never do that. But you find yourself doing what you said you wouldn't do. Are there any of you have ever experienced that? You said something that I would never do nothing like that, but something that you said you wouldn't do, you did. Because I have done it too. I have said something in the past. I ain't gonna never do nothing like that, but I did it. You don't know what you'll do, my brother and sister, depending on the circumstance. You don't know what you'll do. I'm not making no excuse for myself. I'm not making no excuse for nobody else, but you just, only thing you can say, I hope I don't do it. And if you get a relationship, my brother and sister, you got to understand this. You cannot control your mate, and your mate cannot control you. You have what's called a free will. God don't even control you unless you submit to him. Once you submit to the Lord and follow the Spirit, he can guide you, but God do not overwhelm you and take away your will. You have to willfully follow the Spirit. You have to willfully do that. And God give you the strength to do it. Remember when Jesus was at the Last Supper, he told his disciples, I'm going to send the Spirit to you, right? So he could bring things to your memory. You see, everything that Jesus told them, he knew that they were going to forget it. And Jesus told them to go to Jerusalem. You know, he said, go to Jerusalem. And that when Pentecost, they were going to come up and the Spirit came down. Because Jesus knew they couldn't do it on their own. He knew it. That's why God gave us the Spirit, so we can follow the Spirit and do what God choose for us to do. It's hard to do right, my brothers. It's hard to do right, my sister. In the flesh, it's hard. But in the Spirit, you just follow the Spirit and you get stronger in the Spirit. Sister Pam said, we need to be accountable and stop making excuses why we do what we do. Just saying. That's right. We don't need to make excuses because we all accountable. And we need to stop making excuses. Just like Adam and Eve, they did not want to be accountable, and they were perfect. They didn't want to be accountable, and they came up with excuses. And Sister Pam is right. We need to be accountable and stop making up excuses. You understand that, my brother and sister? I hope that you all got something out of the dinner table tonight, and hopefully you can share this good food for the soul with other family members and friends. Go ahead and do it. Like and share. If you're on the book, you like and share, make your comment. And I appreciate your comments, my brother and sister. I really do. And those of you that are on the tube, if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that notification button. I hope that I gave you all something, my brothers and sisters. And check out this, my brother and sister. I got to talk about this. Let me tell you all what I'm going to talk about next. I hope that you all, what do you all think about this? What I'm going to talk about next. Check this out. Yes, Sister Pamela, I am on Facebook. It's Tony M. Toomer. Yes, I'm on Facebook. If you send a request, sister, I will accept it. The next thing I'm going to talk about, my brother and sister, check this out. And you all have heard about this before. Does the 90-day rule apply? What you all think about that on the menu? Does the 90 rule apply? What does the 90 rule apply? You all familiar with Mr. Steve Harvey? He had a book out years ago, be a woman and think like a man or something like that. And he had a section in there about the 90-day rule. Steve Harvey is not the one that came up with the 90-day rule now. He just had it in the book. Let me give you a scenario of what the 90-day rule is. The scenario of the 90-day rule is like this. Should a woman hold back 90 days without being physically intimate with a man? We're going to talk about that. Does the 90 rule apply? And we're going to get a little deep into that. We're going to, Mr. Steve Harvey, and he's not the only one, but he had this part in the book. A woman should wait 90 days before she be physically intimate with someone. But me, my brothers and sisters, we going to really talk about it. Sister Pam said, talk about boundaries. Should you be friends with your ex? Should you be friend with your ex? Yes, sister, I could talk about that too. Should you be friend? Let me tell you this, Sister Pamela. I could go ahead and address this right now. Should you be friend with your ex? Well, if you're single, and if you talk about, or you talk about ex as in being married, is that what you're talking about? If you're talking about ex as far as being married, Sister Simmons, it depends on if you have children. Now, if you have children, you may have to talk to that person. If you have children. And if you were married to that person, that's the key. Where is the person married? Sister Pamela say, Christian singers should not be having sex. That is true. Christian singers should not be having sex, Sister Simma. But guess what? The reality is there are some Christians that have more sex than worldly people. There are some Christians. Let me tell you this, sister, and some more of you all. Don't you know, my brother and sister, a lot of people, Christians, that have gotten married to one another, a lot of Christians have had sex with another Christian before they got married. Now, okay, so the parents said ex without children. If you're single, and if you talk about the ex as in married, if you were married to the person, that's what I'm looking at as an ex. Were you married? Or you talk about being married. If you are married, okay, that's all well and good, friend. However, if you again engaged and married, and you don't have no children with that person, it ain't nothing that you and that person need to be talking about. I can understand if there was children, and you may have to talk to that person if you were married to them. But if you're not married to that person and you are engaged and married, if you're engaged and moving toward being married with someone, I mean, you can say hey and bye. You can say hey and small talk. It ain't like you need to pick up the phone and talk to that person or send text message. That person is an ex for a reason. Okay, Sister Pam said ex-girlfriend. Ex-girlfriend. If you're single, you're a free agent. You could talk to an ex-girlfriend. If you're single, that's the key part. If you're single, if you're single, you could talk, you're a free agent. That's what I keep telling you, brother and sister. If you're single, you're a free agent. You can talk to basically anybody. But if you're a child of God, my brother and sister, you're supposed to only be talking to a Christian as far as a relationship. You see, when you date, my brother, when you date, my sister, you date with a purpose. Okay, Sister Fountain said, what about spouses who are women watchers? If your spouse like to look at women, let me tell you this. Sister Fountain, that's a good question too. Let me tell you this, my brother. Let me tell you this, my sister. When a man is married, when a woman is married, you don't lose your eyesight. You still look. Guess what? I'm married to that young lady up there, right? But I'm sure she sees some men that look better than me. I'm sure she sees some men that got more money than me. I see some women that beautiful too. I see some women that got beautiful shapes too. You don't get blind. It depends on what's going on in your mind when it comes to another person. Because I always say, when it comes to stuff like that, you cannot stop a bird from flying over your head. That means a fleeing thought. But you can stop a bird from building a nest on your head. That's when you directing, producing, and writing how to get with that person. Sister Mo said, my ex-husband thought I was going to keep in contact with him, and I told him no need, and we don't have any children together. That's right, Sister Mo. You ain't got to get in. Yeah, I mean, that's him just bumping his gum. You ain't got to do that. You ain't got to keep in contact with no ex-husband or no ex-wife. They're ex for a reason. Look for, if you're ex with someone, look to it, go in another direction, especially if that person is an unbeliever. You don't want to be tied with no unbeliever because you're unequally yoked. You don't want to be tied with no unbeliever. Like case in point, I have been married before, my brother and sister. I have been married before, okay? Now, my ex-wife, we had children together. We had children together. The only time my ex-wife and I talk is when we see each other, like at a function. Like if one of the children got married, we speak. If it had to do something with those children, right? If it was a wedding, a birthday party, something like that, grandchildren, something like that. If I see her, she see me, we speak to one another. You know what I mean? We speak, but we don't get into no conversation like what you've been doing and all that kind of stuff. We just cordially speak. But if I want to, even before when I was married, even if y'all know who she is, during the time me and my first wife, when we parted ways, I never called her about getting back together. She never called me about getting back together. Anytime we talked, it was only about the children. I had a life. She had a life. We were together. We brought up some successful children. Thank God we brought some successful children. And if I want to talk to my children, I talk directly to them. They got a phone. I call them. If they want to talk to me, they will call me or text me. And my ex-wife that I had the children with, I respect her. I like her. She respect me. She like me. But we had a history. We had a history, and that's it. But we don't hang out and all that kind of stuff. I got a wife. You see, I couldn't do that. I got a wife and still buddy with my ex-wife. That math does not work, my brother and sister. 1 + 1 always equal 2. It never equal 3. You understand that, my brother and sister? It never equal 3. But Sister Fountain said, what about now? If a spouse is very disrespectful, that's like when a man with his woman and another woman walk by him and he doing all this, looking all behind. Sister Fountain, let me give you an example. When my wife and I, we went to Miami about a month ago because we went on a cruise. But a year ago, we went to Miami, and that was for my sister-in-law's surprise birthday party, right? My wife and I, we was in this hotel, and we went downstairs, and we were finna go to this place. We were waiting for our ride to come, right? So my wife and I, we were standing on the outside waiting for the ride. So we're in Miami, right? And so when you're in Miami, it's a whole bunch of women down there that they sure put together. I must say to my brother and sister, I wasn't lusting now. I wasn't lusting. But there's a whole lot of women that were down there in Miami. They had some, they were looking good, and they was like the Commodores say, 36, 24, 36, oh, with a winning hand. I seen a whole bunch of them down there. But this is the point that I'm about to make. Listen to this. My wife and I, we stand in front of the hotel. Some of you have heard this before. I'm standing on the right hand of my wife. We're waiting for the ride. Okay, that was this young lady. She was coming, and she was coming from my right. She was just walking. She was about to walk in front of, and I was looking straight ahead, right? But all moving objects get attention, my brother and sister. So a moving object, I'm seeing something coming from my right. It was this lady. one of the Commodore thing, a brick house. So she was coming by, and I still looked straight ahead. The woman, she walked right in my sight like this, and she walked on by. My wife, she was standing right by me. She was standing right by me, and I seen my wife. My wife did like this. She was looking at the lady, right? And then she looked. Then my wife looked up at me, and she said, Tony, that lady sure got a big old butt, don't she? I said, what you talking about? She said, you seen that lady that went by that got that big old butt? I said, what you talking about? But you see, the thing about it is, I did not turn around and do all that kind of stuff. I seen the lady, she came in front of me. I'm not blind. I'm not blind. But you see, it depends on if I was so disrespectful and just turned my head looking at the lady, talking about, wow, look at all that. I didn't do that. It was a fleeing thought. And the only reason I think about it now because Sister Fountain, thank you, Sister Fountain, you brought up this topic about watching other women or something like that. You don't get blind. And let me tell you this on this too, sister. Let me tell you this. And you got to be straight, sister. Listen to this. Even some of you Christian sisters, even if you get engaged and married, guess what? You don't become blind. You still gonna see some good-looking men. There are gonna be some men that look better than your man's sisters. There's gonna be some men that make more money than your men and all that kind of stuff. But the question is, do those men have God in them like your man's supposed to have God in them, and vice versa too, brother? Even if you're married, brother, you're gonna see some beautiful women out there. But the question is, do they have the spirit of the Lord like your woman have the Lord, your wife have the Lord? You're gonna always see stuff. Don't you know that, my brother and sister, Satan's gonna always bring things in your view to look at? And you know what? If you're in a serious committed and covenant relationship, Satan's gonna bring people your way to tempt you, especially if you're married, engaged, married. Not Simpson, but Satan gonna bring people in front of you. He's gonna bring thoughts to you. Satan may call one of your exes to call you on the phone. Satan may call one of your exes to text you on the phone. It seems like it's out of the blue, but it's not out of the blue. It was motivated. And if a person from your past call you and try to get together, text you, that person might not know what he or she doing. It could be Satan using those people to break up with your happy home. Satan don't like sweet home. You know what I mean? He doesn't like sweet home. Satan is Satan is about killing, stealing, and destroying. Okay, my brother. Okay, my sister. I hope that you all had a good night. I hope some of you all didn't get broke. I hope some of you all did not get broke out there spending all your money on Black Friday. Some of y'all probably broke. You know you had a bill to pay. I hope you didn't get broke out there trying to buy all that stuff. Hope you could pay your mortgage and your car note or whatever. You don't put your mortgage, your rent, and your car note and stuff on for stuff. Now, if you have some stuff, I mean, if you have some extra money, I can see that. But don't get in no bondage, my brothers and sisters. Don't do that. Don't max your credit card out and stuff. Don't do that. Unless you can do that. If you want to be nice to someone, I can see that, but don't get nice. Don't you all know what Black Friday is about? A lot of you went out there and got broke today. And you're waiting to January to try to get yourself together. You don't get broke. If you can't do something, you can't do it. Don't you know Black Friday is not about you? It's about those companies. Let me tell you all something about Black Friday. When they get people to come out and do all that shopping on Black Friday, guess what? If you want to be real, you can find some cheaper deals after Black Friday. They just want to make all that money right after Thanksgiving. But guess what? You could get some better sales after Black Friday. Some people be running to get those big screen TVs. Like ain't gonna be no more TV. It's gonna be more TVs, and they're gonna be cheaper. Depending on where you shop, they're gonna be cheaper. You ain't got to do all that, my brother and sister. I didn't go out there shopping on no Black Friday. Cinderella didn't go shopping on a Black Friday because we know the deal. We know the deal. If you want to do some Christmas shopping or whatever, you just wait and let a lot of people go get broke and stuff like that. But you're gonna find cheaper deal down the road. I guarantee you, brother. I guarantee you, my sister. I love you, brothers. I love you, sister. You all have a good night. And remember, when we come back, we're gonna talk about, does the 90-day rule apply? And I hope that you all get ready, because we're gonna have a good discussion at the dinner table. Peace out.